What's up guys? Andrew here from Mini Racer. Today we're here for another tech tip and we're going to be talking about sprockets. Bit of a dark art, you should talk to some people, but it's pretty simple. We're going to run through the main things to think about when you're thinking gearing, sprockets, chains, or anything drivetrain related with your pit bike, or for most dirt bikes for that matter. So right here, we got a steel 38 tooth OEM sprocket off a Crf110. Very similar to what comes on a KLX, which are also 38, or your TTRs, which are 35. But the biggest thing is it's steel. Weighs a fair bit, but it's nice and durable, and it's definitely going to get the job done. Then you got your alloy numbers. These are our Mini Racer Elite sprockets. They're super light, they look trick, and they come in a lot of sizes. So what are the upsides? What are the downsides? Let's go through them. With your steel sprocket, by far you get affordability and durability. These things will last forever, and they'll do the job really nicely. But look, they don't look as nice as these guys, but they're also pretty heavy. And obviously what that does, for some of you don't know, that adds a lot of unsprung weight to your bike. So we're actually going to jump on the scales right here and show you what the weight difference is between your average steel sprocket and your alloy. Okay, so what we have here is a steel 38 tooth OEM sprocket off a Crf110, and then we also have a Mini Racer Elite sprocket, also a 38 tooth. So keeping it nice and simple when it comes to tooth count and keeping it fair. So we're going to chuck our steel sprocket on the Mini Racer scales, and we've got 430 grams. And we're just going to throw our Mini Racer Elite sprocket on there at 170 grams. So you can see there, so your alloy sprocket is 60% lighter than the OEM steel sprocket. So a massive difference there. And when you're talking unsprung weight that's on the wheel, that is moving up and down and it's spinning, it actually makes a huge difference to the performance of your bike, both the way the suspension works and also how quick the thing gets moving. So all your crew out there who are talking about, hey, how do I get my stock bike to make a bit more power? How do I do this and that? Have a think about things like that. As we all know, they also look trick, and you've got a bunch of different options with gearing. What's the downside? They don't last quite as long. They've got some cool features. Our Mini Racer Elite sprockets have got these grooves in them to help them clean, etc., to try and make them wear as best as possible. But these stock steel sprockets will last forever, provided you put a decent chain on them. So do with that information what you will. For us, we want our bikes to look trick, we like playing around with gearing, and hey, these things do perform better. And to be honest, these things don't make a heap of power. If you put a decent chain on, which we're just about to talk about, you get plenty of life out of them. So alloy's a choice for us, but you know, depends on your budget, depends what you're going for with your build. There are a couple of your options there. Speaking of durability, guys, the biggest thing when talking about durability before we go down the steel and the alloy line of thought is make sure when you change your sprockets, you change your chain. And further to that, stock chains on nearly any dirt bike out there, be it a YZ450, a Crf110, a Klx110, or I was going to say PW50, but not PW50s because they're a shaft drive. Put a decent chain on. Even if you're just going to run your stock front and rear sprocket, an average chain or a worn out chain will wear out a new sprocket, or a worn out sprocket will wear out a fresh chain. So you always got to change them together, but keep in mind the stock chains of most bikes are pretty average. So it's really worth maybe just sticking a decent chain on. For us, we don't run X rings or O rings or anything super crazy on our 110s. Once again, you know, we're not putting out 50 horsepower and getting too crazy. We just use a decent heavy duty racing chain like this RK here. It's 50 bucks Australian, does the job super nice. It's gold, so it looks trick, which is nice again. But even if you're on a stock sprockets, think about just throwing an aftermarket chain on, because that will actually get you heaps more life out of your sprockets long term as well. So we said before, sprockets and gearing, etc., can be looked at as a bit of a dark art sometimes, and the reason for that is the gearing aspect of things. And we see, whether it's emails we get on miniracer.com.au or some of the forums and the Facebook pages, etc., we see a lot of people asking, what gearing should I run and how should I do it? So there's a couple of key things to remember. Going up on the rear will lower your gearing. And when we say lower, that means it'll rev up quicker, but it'll run out faster. You'll have to shift faster, etc. If we say it's going taller, that means you're getting more top speed, less low end. So going up on the rear, for example, going to a 42 rear as opposed to a 38.2 stock, that is going to lower your gearing and make you get more snap off the bottom, but you're going to have to shift quicker. Now on the front, it's the opposite. So going up on the front will make it taller as opposed to going up on the rear, which will make it lower. Now the other thing to really keep in mind is the ratios are different. So the easiest way to think about it is for every one tooth on the front sprocket, or the countershaft sprocket is what they're really called, it's equal to about 2.5 to 3 on the rear. So you go from a 14 tooth front, which is a stock RK sprocket I got here for a Crf110, which is also stock on Ttr and Klx as far as I remember. That's going to be like going up to a 41 tooth on the rear. So keep that in mind, guys. What we tend to do is we try to go up. If we're trying to lower the gearing, we try to go up on the rear as opposed to down on the front. The reason for that is trying to straighten that chain angle out helps wear on the slider, but it also actually helps your suspension work better, both when you're getting going, but also how it acts under load. So that's the lowdown on gearing, chains, and sprockets, guys. Biggest thing to remember when it comes to gearing is it is a bit of a dark art, but more than that, everyone's got their own opinion on it to an extent, but it's also subjective. So depending on the riding that you're doing and the kind of rider that you are, also your weight, height, speed, etc., everyone might have a slightly different need. So don't be scared to play around with it a bit. The biggest things to keep in mind are if you want durability, stick with steel, but maybe chuck a decent chain on straight away, and that will make sure that steel sprocket lasts and you'll be good for the long term. If you want a bit more high performance, you want to reduce that unsprung weight, definitely go for alloy. And also, of course, if you want to play with your gearing options a bit more, there's a lot of options out there with aftermarket alloy. With our Mini Racer Elite Series, we offer multiple sizes for all the 110s and colours, I should say, as well as Crf50. We've also got Crf125, Klx140 coming, so there's heaps of options there. And of course, we carry countershaft sprockets as well. So plenty of options there, guys, and we appreciate you watching.